Hello everyone, welcome back to the Boudoir. It's your girl Ieasha here, and ding dong, who's there? It's discourse time apparently. Yes, every few weeks, every few days, every few seconds, it seems like there's a new discourse topic for us to dissect. And you know what? I am not above a little bit of conversation every now and again. I consider myself a homemade couch sociologist, so I always like to dig in and see what everybody's talking about and like compare that to the times we're currently living in, because while you can argue that discourse can be very redundant, especially the same old 50-50, these masculine feminine type of conversations, but every so often there is that one topic that kind of gets your gears turning, and this one is that today. So fresh off of Valentine's Day, we got some heated conversation. Not really heated, but you know, things happening on the TikTok streets. Now, I'm sure you guys all know who Drew Afualo is. She is a very popular podcaster, social media personality. I think she's incredible. Her main messaging is that women should love themselves, they should work on who they are and not focus on patriarchy and what men have to say. And oftentimes she has very amazing clapbacks towards these dusty men that I happen to laugh at and enjoy. And she's been doing this for a couple of years now. And I've noticed that she's somebody who doesn't really get into a lot of controversy, but when she does say certain things, sometimes it seems like the reaction causes this type of discourse. So a clip of hers had resurfaced. I will insert the clip here.
If it's not happening yet, you're not there yet. When in your self-love journey, because no one's ever going to love you more than you love yourself. So you have to love yourself unconditionally. And then when you meet the right person, you're not going to seek them out for that kind of love because you're going to already have it.
Respectfully, this advice is ass. And if I were your friend, we would have a very tough conversation following said advice, if you even want to call it that. And I'm not coming at Drew directly because she isn't the first person to give this terrible advice. I'm more so frustrated at the advice in and of itself. Those of y'all who hop into a relationship and begin preaching self-love to your single friends as if that's the reason why the sole reason why they're so single, because by your logic, everyone who has found their person has high self-love and high self-esteem and has had it since day one. Can we please be for real? Can we please be for real? By this logic, everyone who has met their right person met them when they were at the highest point of their self-love and self-esteem. When in reality, sometimes it takes meeting and being with said person and them seeing you for you to see yourself in a better way as well. Y'all be saying this as if it is a requirement to turn in your self-love and self-esteem, and if it's at a certain level, then you get your person. As if luck and chance aren't the main players in how we tend to find our person.
And so she's basically saying if you're sad on Valentine's Day, or if you're just sad that you're single in general, that you should focus on loving yourself, and instead of sitting in that sad energy, transmute it and turn that into self-love. Now, some of the girls were not feeling that, okay? And we're gonna talk about that, of course. We're gonna hear everybody's side because we have to be fair and dignified on the Boudoir. Everybody gets to have their say. Some of the girls were not liking that. Some of the girls who were single were saying, you know what? We're tired of hearing that we just need to love ourselves and then a relationship will come. We just have to love ourselves. That's why you're not in a relationship. We just have to love ourselves. We're tired of hearing that, you guys. And to be fair, I even heard some people who were in long-term relationships saying like even that advice can kind of give like toxic positivity, like you're not actually hearing what people have to say. And then on the other hand, you have people being like, well, no, what she said was perfectly sound advice. I mean, what do you want her to say to that? Like, it's a holiday that comes around every single time, every 365 days. You know when Valentine's Day is, you know people are going to be booed up, you know you're going to see, you know, the extravagant gifts and everything, the roses and all of the whole 9 yards, right? You don't have to feel sad about being single, you just have to turn that energy into something positive for yourself. And so we got a lot of good conversation going, and I feel like this is one of those discourses where nobody's really like going at each other's throats. It seems very chill and tame, at least for now, because that could always change. But people are genuinely like giving really good, insightful perspectives on this whole conversation, and I really want to dive in. So for starters, I think everything always needs a historical context because these things just don't happen spontaneously. These conversations don't just pop out of thin air. Like, these things always come from a historical context. So if we look back in history, we all know that this world was based on patriarchy and racism and all the capitalism, all of it. But for now, we're just going to talk about patriarchy, right? We were taught to serve the man. Everything the man says goes. Man are the most perfect leaders. Man do this. Man good. Man blah, 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 blah. And then women are just supposed to be subservient. Shut up, be quiet, go get in that kitchen, go lay back and pop out 10 kids and be barefoot and pregnant for the rest of your life. That is your legacy. You cannot do anything except for that and serve man. So when you're being fed that messaging pretty much since the earth started, like, I don't know, since the earth's debut, we've been fed that messaging. Like, we must stay down here and men get to be up here. So obviously when you're being told that, when you're being propagandized and told like this is the only way life works, you're going to move accordingly because you want to survive in this world. Because when you do go against the grain, which many women have done, you're either called crazy, mentally ill, all of these derogatory, terrible names that I will not say on here. You're ostracized from society. And you can't blame people who want to just make it by and just get through as unscathed as possible and just survive, because this world can be tough. It's not easy to stand on your own. It's not easy to do the off-the-cuff thing. It's not easy to follow your own path, knowing that you're going to be ridiculed for that, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to forge that path. Some people just decide that they want to just follow the right way and just kind of keep your head down and follow the path, which is what a lot of women did. A lot of women went down the family route. And yes, a lot of women obviously do want motherhood. They do want to be wives and everything, but you have to wonder, did this all just, we always just wanted to be mothers, we always just want to do this, or were we fed that messaging so we kind of just like adapted to that eventually as the generations passed on? You just kind of figured, okay, this is just what we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to find a husband, have his kids, and then just stay at home and clean and everything, and that's kind of what my life is going to be. But then of course, as we became more educated, as we lived more life and saw like, you know what, things are very unequal, things are not right. Why am I getting paid a fraction of what you're getting? Why can I not have my own bank account? Why do I have to literally do everything you say when you're not even treating me all that well at home? Like, a lot of these men were abusive. A lot of these men had drinking problems, drug problems, cheating out the wazoo. Like, things weren't always just picture perfect as they show in these old Hollywood films. Like, a lot of these marriages were not good. They just had to fake the funk because that's just what you did to get by. But now that we have social media, and even before the modern days, like women in the 60s, the 70s, 50s, 40s, women have been going against the grain and educating themselves and trying to free all of us collectively for a very long time. But us in this modern age, now that we have things like TikTok, now that we have more real-time things and we want to see the real nitty-gritty raw realities of people's lives, we're able to have these conversations. Maybe there is more to life than just having somebody's kids. Maybe, you don't have to put up with everything just for the sake of being in a relationship. Maybe you don't have to lose yourself for the sake of keeping somebody who do you even want them, or are you just having them because you don't want to be alone? You think you don't want to be alone. Are you just scared of what's on the other side of that? Have you been conditioned to believe that this is all you have, and so you better hold on tight because you may not get this again? So as we're having these conversations, now we're kind of like, hold up, wait, we can do things a little differently. We don't all have to follow this one path. Maybe I want to commit to academia. I want to get my doctorate. I want to be a model. I want to do this, I want to do that. I do want to have kids and have a family. Like, we're actually thinking for ourselves because we have A, more freedoms to do that. Like, let's just be real. B, we have more accessibility to talk to other women around the world and see how other people live and hear other people's perspectives. And so being afforded those privileges allows us to make more sound decisions. Now we're having more conversations like decenter men, 4B, love yourself, self-love. Like, these are still very new conversations. It seems like we've been talking about this for a while, and we have, but like in this degree and for our times, like, this is still very new and fresh and like revolutionary thinking. I just want to say we should all be very proud of ourselves for even having these conversations, because like, could you imagine, like, you could not openly talk like this back in the day. You could not have these conversations. These were like hush hush behind closed doors. Like, no, now we can just get on YouTube and just blab about this, and on TikTok. That's a little history lesson for y'all. Y'all like that, Boudoir history. So right, now that we have the historical context taken care of, Now let's go back to present times, okay? So Drew's saying, you know what, ladies? I understand you're seeing all these beautiful flower arrangements. It's February 14th. You know everybody's out doing that surf and turf special. You know you're doing the 2 for $100, the bottle of wine included special. You're getting your clothes on. You're seeing everybody's Instagram stories. But you gotta love yourself, okay? Like, just love yourself. Don't be sad. Be sad. I know we're posting our highlights, but just love yourself, girl. Okay, I'm being more dramatic. She didn't say all that, but like. So let's talk about the first reaction. The first batch of reactions was people being a little upset by this take. People saying like, hey, this feels very dismissive of our feelings because duh, we know we have to love ourselves. And a lot of us have been working on ourselves for years. A lot of us have been chronically single for years, and we've heard the same old for years, okay? So I think we understand that by now, that we need to just love ourselves and do all the healing and the meditations and the affirmations we know. But now what? Now what do I do? It's like, I'm doing all this work, I'm putting all this work in, but then I'm seeing people who are not doing all the things they should be doing, but they're still thriving, they're still in relationships. So what gives? Why am I not in one? I thought the whole thing was like, if I just worked on myself hard enough, if I just listened to subliminals enough, then it would just appear. But it's not. But I'm seeing all these other people on my Instagram feed in relationships. So what is going on? To push back on that aspect, it's like, just because you see people in a relationship doesn't mean it's good. Like, we gotta like evolve our thinking. Like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I usually like to just give one side of the argument and then give the other and then give my 2 cents. But like, just to say this, relationships are not merit-based. You don't do something to get in a relationship. Now, yes, you can go on dates. Yes, you can put yourself on dating apps. Yes, you can, position yourself to maybe get higher chances. But at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. It's luck. It's not about, I worked on myself so hard and I healed so hard and that's why I met my husband. Like, no. Maybe that happened after you were done healing yourself, but it's not because you healed yourself that you met him. You could have easily met him when you weren't healed. And it's like, what does that even mean? Because you're still learning every single day. It's not like you're completely just, I'm done. There's always something new to learn. So yeah, he met this version of you, but none of you have met the version of you in 10 years, 15 years. Like, so I just feel like we have to stop looking at relationships as if it's like something you earned or like, this is my reward. It's like, no, it's literally happenstance. It's literally 2 people were in the same room at the same time, the same school, the same college, the same job, and they happen to fall in love. That's just how I see it. I feel like I reframed my thinking because I used to idealize relationships and I used to look at them as like, oh my God, if you are in a relationship, you're the end all be all. When it's not that at all. Like, not being in a relationship should not be looked at as a moral failing. I feel like that's a lot of the reason why people get so upset when they see all these other people. Also, comparison is the thief of joy. Platitudinous a little bit. Yeah. I think the problem is we need to evolve. Because look, as we were saying with the historical context, back in the day when you had a man, it was like, ooh, I have a man. Like, this is the trophy. Like, I won some invisible game that nobody's playing, but I won. And so when you have that as a framework to work with and you're trying to like rework it, you have to redefine what a relationship means to you. So maybe for you it is a trophy. Maybe for somebody it is like an accomplishment. Maybe somebody really does have that on their vision board, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with desiring a relationship. The problem is when you're looking at it as you not having a relationship as if you're lacking something. Like, it shouldn't be that, because again, as we said, it's literally just happenstance. It's luck. It's literally gambling. Like, that's all. Every time you go out, it's a gamble. You might run into your soulmate that day. You might not. You're probably not going to, but then there's that one off chance that you get lucky and you do. That's all it is. Like, I don't know. I feel like within the last few years, I've really stopped like listening and buying into that messaging of like, oh, you just have to love yourself and then you'll get into a relationship. Like, no. I mean, you can do all of that and then you happen to find somebody after that, but it's not because you loved yourself so hard. It's just you happen to meet that person after you did all that work. Before we even get into this, you have to define what a relationship means to you. For some people, it is an accomplishment. For some people, it is a trophy that they want to just collect and check off their list. That's fine. But for me, I just look at it as if it's just a game of luck. That's simply all it is. Of course, you can do things to make your likelihood of getting into a relationship higher, i.e. going out, socializing, being on the apps, yada yada yada, all that stuff. But it's not a game, like it's not a merit game. You're not doing anything bad by not being in a relationship. It's just what it is. Just like you're not doing anything good by being in a relationship, you just are in one. It's a completely morally neutral thing to be in a relationship and to be not in one too. Back to the girlies who are not feeling this whole you need to just love yourself argument. I get that, because I feel like a lot of that advice is just like a throwaway, just like, yeah, just love yourself. Because nobody really wants to talk about those uncomfortable feelings of like, I understand that I need to love myself. I understand that it's just luck, but I'm still feeling upset. I still feel upset that I don't have somebody to share the bed with at night. I still feel upset that I don't have somebody to parade around town or whatever. And I think that those feelings actually do need to be acknowledged. And so I think for us, when somebody's saying that, like, oh, I wish I was in a relationship, if they're not doing it from a place of like victimhood and just simply saying, no, I actually do wish I had somebody, like just being completely honest, I think that we should hold space for that. And I think we should say, I completely understand. Like, I can understand why you would want that. Like, I would understand why you want to go on dates and like all the things, especially because people do post it as if it's something to be like, ooh, look at what I have. And just same thing people do with like designer stuff. Like, it would be really funny for somebody with a whole closet full of designer to be like, guys, you shouldn't want this stuff. Like, you shouldn't want these, you know, Louis Vuitton, whatever, even though they have a whole closet full. It's like, girl, you know, it's a little condescending. It's a little like patronizing. I can understand that. So I feel like we do need to hold space when people say like, no, I do wish I could have somebody to have on my arm or whatever. I also think that advice is not that it's bad advice, because it's really not. In case you were wondering my opinion on it, I don't think what she said was bad at all, but I can understand everybody's points of view. A person is not a reward for you working on yourself. And I think we really need to be careful with that messaging when we say, after you're done working on yourself, then the perfect person will come into your life. Like, that's a possibility. It could end up being that way, but it's not going to be because you worked on yourself. That person could have met the unevolved version of you too, and you could have, you know, maybe not been ready for that relationship. It's still not about what you're doing. It's still about luck at the end of the day. Now, how you're handling this person, again, depends on what your mentality is, and having self-love, of course, is going to help a ton, not just with you being single, but with you being in a relationship too. Having self-love means when somebody's doing something you don't like, you have the self-love to get up and walk away, or to get up and talk about it and try to fix it if that's what you feel called to do. So I don't think that advice is bad completely, because I don't think it's just single people that need to hear that. I think people in relationships, I think everybody should hear that. Like, it's just something that needs to be talked about, and I think that the advice in and of itself is not bad. But I can completely understand how it is like patronizing and like, oh, just love yourself, sweetie, it'll be okay, but I'm just gonna go hang out with my boyfriend now after. Like, it's like, come on, girl. You have to be more understanding, I feel like, and it's okay to sit with uncomfortable feelings. It's okay to sit with the uncomfortability of somebody saying that they want something that they don't have. It still doesn't change the fact that it's 99% because of luck that they're in a relationship. It's okay to sit with uncomfortable feelings. Okay, so I think those are mainly the arguments for the girlies that were not feeling Drew's advice. Now, for my own little, Ieasha's little 2 cents on this whole conversation, number one, I think it's so great that we're even having this conversation first and foremost, because that shows that we are evolving as a species. And I think we do need to have these conversations because, like I said, when you have that much historical context, and not to mention, it's not like misogyny's in the past. Like, girl, we still here. We still in the height of patriarchy. Look at who's running this country, unfortunately. It's running rampant. So especially now more than ever, when people are going to try to do whatever they can to make themselves safer and just go as unscathed in this crazy world as possible, we do need to have these conversations, and I will never stop talking about it. I have a whole bunch of videos on my channel if you guys want to watch decenter men versus pick me, get some self-respect and stop dating losers. Like, this is an ongoing evolving conversation. Even me, like, I'm evolving my thoughts as I go. I'm not gonna sit here and say you're pathetic and a loser for wanting to be in a relationship, because it's completely natural to want that. Like, duh, I want my hand out. Like, I want all the things. I want the whole nine, the rom-com special. I want the romance book. of it all, okay? Like, girl, who you talking to? I'm a daydreamer. But it can't, you can want things, but if once it starts teetering over like the victim and the woe is me, why is it, it's because I'm this, that's when we have to change the behavior. That's when we have to have these like wake up calls, because we cannot internalize these things. And also another reason why a lot of us aren't in relationships is systemically. Look at these news headlines. Like, are we seeing all of these like crazy group chats where I can't even say some of the things that these men are doing, like just disgusting, heinous things. We're always talking about men are trash this, men are trash that. We're seeing everything that's happening, and yet we're like yearning this thing so badly, even though we know how men are. Every other 3 days we got girls coming online talking about, it's the 7th year in a row I haven't gotten any birthday presents. Like, that's what we're coveting so bad. Like, we see the realities of what's going on. This is not everybody's relationship. We have to remember that relationships are a completely neutral thing morally. It's not a prize, it's not a reward, it just is, or it isn't, you know? It's not a punishment that you're single, it just is. It's just happenstance. So when the, you know, I want a boyfriend, I want this, when it starts teetering on like the pick me, the male-centeredness side of things, that's when we gotta like call it back in. We gotta just reconfigure the conversation, you know? All in all, I think that everybody has days that go up and down, you know? Like, sometimes you're completely fine with being single, and sometimes you do feel that little tug. Maybe people in your life are getting engaged and you're seeing like people change around you and you feel stagnant, so it's completely natural to feel that way. But as Drew said, I think that that is a chance for you to transmute some of that energy into yourself. Like, okay, you're sitting here yearning and longing for this relationship, but how's your bank account looking? How's your Roth IRA? Is it maxed out completely? Do you know how to ride a horse? Like, I feel like there's a lot of things that we need to like take a step back and stop playing into like this victim, woe is me, like why is this all happening to me type thing, and just zoom out a little bit. Like, everything is not specifically happening to you. Like, I promise you, there are plenty of single women, not just women, but men, everybody that are out here in this world, and they're doing just fine. You're still breathing, you're alive, you're gonna be okay. I think you should honor your feelings. I think if you are having one of those sad days and you need to just sit and watch rom-coms in bed and just eat a whole bucket of ice cream, I think you should do that for yourself, because avoiding those feelings is gonna make it a whole lot worse. Don't lie to yourself. If you really are feeling upset, don't try to play the tough, I don't need nobody. No, allow yourself to feel that, because that's gonna help you get to the other side of things. But sometimes you have those days, okay? And it's fine to have those days. That's all I'm trying to say. I think the next time you're feeling down about being single, I think that one, you should honor your feelings. So if you genuinely are feeling that, you should just sit with that for a little bit, couple minutes, an hour, whatever you need. And then ask yourself, am I feeling this because I just watched like 10 videos back to back of girls unboxing, you know, presents from their boyfriend? Was I even feeling that emotion before I went on social media? You have to ask where things are coming from, because a lot of your thoughts are not even yours. A lot of your thoughts are not even yours. It's like what you're hearing on social media or just in media in general being forced on you. Don't let anybody invalidate how you feel. Truly honor your feelings, but just as your friend, as your girl Ieasha, I don't think it's conducive to your time to feel like you're doing something wrong by not being in a relationship, because it's, like I said, luck. Like 99.999%, it's because of luck. Okay, that's really all it is. And I think you actually should play around with the idea of you not meeting that person one day, just because I think it takes off some of the heartbreak now, and you can kind of like grieve that now before it even happens, if it even happens. That's just how I do things. That should, like, you don't have to do that. I'm kind of weird like that, where sometimes I like to break my heart before it even gets to that point, just so that I'm like, okay, like I can handle it if and when it happens. I'm open to marriage, but I'm also not going to like be upset if I don't ever get married, because I really like my alone time. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, cool. I'm just like, I'm living life. I'll be out on these Hinge streets sometimes, just seeing what's out there, you know, picking around at the candy store, seeing if there's anything I like. But that's it. Like, I'm done, and I feel like I'm very proud of myself for that evolution, because back in the day, I was one of those people like, why is it me and just wasting time. Girl, go make some money. Like, no shade, get up and go make some money. I feel like you got way too much time on your hands if you sitting here wallowing in something where it's like, these people, men are not a prize. They're not a prize. And you know what? The next person that comes into my life, they have to exceed my expectations. It would have to be a really, really, really amazing deal for me to get off the market. You understand what I'm saying? What did you guys think? Have you guys been catching up with this like Drew stuff? I don't think it's like really controversy, because a lot of people are like saying I'm not mad at Drew herself. I'm just, you know, simply critiquing, picking apart her words a little bit. Overall, I think this is a really good, healthy discussion, and more will definitely come along the way because again, we're still evolving. This is all still very new. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening to me on Apple or Spotify, definitely download today's episode so you can listen to it over and over and over again at the gym, at work, whatever you want to do, girl. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.